Welcome back to the channel, people. This is LFC Plavi, and it's been 2 wins in a row, 2 clean sheets in a row, and that is excellent. Every Liverpool fan is buzzing, and it's exciting times. So I just want to say a few things about exactly what I think has been going on over the past 2 games, and the things that I've seen, the changes that I've seen in the team, and why I think we are on this winning run. I wouldn't say it's a winning run necessarily because it's just 2 games, but I've seen very, very positive signs that we need to really take into account. The first thing is that before we played against Aston Villa, I mentioned that these next 3 games, starting with Aston Villa and then Madrid and then Manchester City, are games that really favors this Liverpool team. The team is really built to win games like this. And previously, the games that we had lost were games that this team weren't really built for. So they were opponents that played in a certain way, a certain specific way. They used long balls a lot. They didn't allow us or give us the opportunity to press. And so because this team is programmed to press a lot, they go in and press anyway, and we leave spaces at the back for the long balls to be used against us. Set pieces, defending set pieces was also a problem. And so far, the 2 teams that we've played in the shape of Aston Villa and Real Madrid are not set piece teams. Manchester City, I would argue, are also not a set piece team. So I think that this particular game that we are about to play against Manchester City is a game that goes into our favor. It's a game that we are more in a better position to win. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I've seen some very noticeable changes in the way Liverpool have approached these last 2 games, and I think how we are going to approach the next game against Manchester City. It is going to be different from what we've seen before. The first change is that Liverpool players are winning their duels again. Like last season, we weren't winning our duels most of the time. But in the past 2 games, against Aston Villa and against Real Madrid, Liverpool players have been winning their duels. A lot of players, even Florian Wirtz, who has been losing duels for the most part of the season, has started to win his duels. Players in the midfield, in our attack, when we go long to Salah or to Ekitike, we tend to win those duels. So I think that is a massive factor. It is a massive factor because it helps in our build-up. When we get pressed so high and we go long, we still maintain possession. We don't lose it and get counted on. And it also helps us in terms of our defense when we are defending set pieces or when we are defending attacks from the opponent. Because we're able to win ground duels and air balls, it helps us to take control of the game, maintain control throughout the 90 minutes. Also, I said earlier on when things weren't going well that Liverpool looked like a team that is not well coached. And I didn't say that because I think the team is not well coached, but we look like a team that is not well coached. And the reason is that it didn't seem clear to me what the plan was in terms of building up in possession and out of possession. It appeared that we just went into games and tried to impose our game on the opponent without necessarily understanding what the opponent was trying to do. But now, in the last 2 games, I've noticed that there is a clear plan. It looked like all of a sudden Liverpool are a well-coached team again. And I think the reason why that is the case, the reason why we look like more of a well-coached team right now is that players are giving 110% in terms of their energy, their concentration, and everything. In our previous round of form where we weren't able to win, I felt that players were not able to give 100% of their efforts, their energy, their concentration, and everything. Not that they didn't want to, but because they just couldn't bring it out. And for some reason, in the last 2 games, they have been there. Even Salah, who we don't necessarily see pressing a lot or running a lot for the team when we are out of possession. We saw in the last 2 games that he's been able to bring out 100%. His concentration is through the roof. Dominic Szoboszlai, even though he was doing it well before these last 2 games, it has even increased in the last 2 games. We've seen players like McAllister winning his duels in the midfield, having the energy and the desire to go after players, press them, put pressure on them, and win tackles. That is exactly what this Liverpool team is known for. And I think in our last 2 games, we've been able to bring that out very, very well. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is that in spite of how good Liverpool have played in these last 2 games, and also especially in our last game against Real Madrid, it has come down to fine margins. And this is what explains why Arne Slot was talking about fine margins a lot, even when we weren't playing well. Because when you aren't playing well, you can still benefit from taking advantage of the fine margins, the set pieces. So against Madrid, we dominated the game, not in terms of possession, but in terms of creating chances and limiting the opponent. We dominated all those aspects of the game. But at the end of the day, the win came from fine margins. It was a set piece that won us the game. So that should tell us that no matter how good or bad you play in a particular game, the game could still end up being decided by the fine margins. And so in the period where we weren't playing necessarily well, we still should have been able to dominate the fine margins, like the set pieces, like the throw-ins, like defending in a certain way that prevents the opponent from scoring. Because even if the opponent is creating chances and are not able to score, not defending or not being concentrated and switched on for the fine margins, for the decisive moments, can turn the game on its head. So we can play poorly and still win if we dominate the fine margins. And so there were criticisms of the coach when he was talking about the fine margins because the performances weren't good. I was one of those people who criticized the manager for concentrating on the fine margins and not necessarily dissecting the entire performance. But at the end of the day, even if you play well, the game could still be decided by fine margins. So I think it is fair for Arne Slot to always hammer on the fine margins, that these are things that decide games, no matter how good you play or how bad you play. Now, the fourth thing that I want to talk about to end the video is that winning 2 games in a row and keeping a clean sheet is very, very good. It is a good thing, but they are just 2 games. When we really look at the entirety of the season, these are just 2 games in isolation. The only thing that will make these 2 wins and 2 clean sheets matter come the end of the season is when we go on to win a trophy, or when we go on to win trophies. So these are just 2 games. They are very good wins. It feels very good to win these games, but we need to keep on winning. We need to keep on winning in order to end the season with a title or a trophy. For the Premier League, I'm still not going to sit here and say that Liverpool can win it. For me, in my books, it is gone. Until I see something different, until something changes come December or come January. For me, my conclusion is that Liverpool cannot win the Premier League. But what about the Champions League? It is absolutely there for the taking. So for me, if you win the Premier League in the previous season and the next season, you don't do necessarily well in the Premier League, but then you go on to win the Champions League. For me, I think that will be 2 brilliant seasons in a row. So we've won 2 games in a row now. Let's keep it up. Let's keep going. I still want to see the desire from the players being 110% for 90 minutes. I still want to see players winning their duels. I still want to see that the team goes into games having a specific plan for the opponent that we are playing, and not just try and go in there and play our game, because other teams also have plans against us. So we need to mitigate whatever plan they have and then take advantage of that, build from that, and hurt the opponent. So that is my views on how Liverpool are playing so far and what I think should be done going forward. Don't forget, if you like the video, to press the like button. Also, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts about what is going on. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far to the channel. I can't be grateful enough for you guys watching my videos and also liking and commenting. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. You never walk alone. Take care.